Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Here is Fabio Rosa, the CEO and co-founder of TagoIO. Thank you for attending our webinar today. So today we're going to be talking about how to build applications, mainly related to the dashboards. So we want to make sure you get a very good idea about how to build dashboards. First, feel free to make any questions using our chat screen on the bottom of this presentation. Feel free to make a comment, and we are going to do our best to answer you in real time. Or if it's not possible, we are going to cover all the questions at the end of the session. Also, we want to let you know that we'll be recording this webinar today, and the link will be available for everyone to watch this webinar later. So the agenda for today is first give you an overview about Tago, just a few seconds, just to understand the key features of Tago. Then we're going to talk about how to connect all the devices and use the data. I think that's a very important foundation to understand. Then most of the time, you'll be talking about the item number 4, that's basically having Roberto talking about how to build simple dashboards and more complex dashboards. And for last but not least, you're going to be talking and showing how to build scripts to automate the dashboard generation. So that's the agenda for today. I hope you enjoy this time here with us. So first, Tago is a cloud platform that helps you to connect all the devices. It means that we have all the key components for you to extract the value, the data from an electronic device using any kind of network and bring this information and process in the business side. And the way it works is to make this available to everyone to design the application without the need to use others as a consultant, for example. You can simply sign up and use our platform and follow our documentation. So Tago is formed basically by 5 components. Looking for this picture here, you can see on the left side, just as a simplification, you have the sensor. This sensor is connected somehow for some means of connectivity to Tago platform. Here you have these 5 components. The first one is device management. Here is where you can turn the device on, can generate a token, and so on. Then you have a data storage system. It's basically allocate everything in your own account. You have full control of the data. Then you have the real-time analysis. That's where you can add a lot of value by creating scripts that's are gonna run when you decide. Okay, these scripts can generate simple outputs from calculations that you define, can manage users, can integrate with other systems, and so on. Then the main topic here today is about the visualization. This is the dashboard. It's basically allow developers to build a nice user interface for your customer. Okay, and we're going to focus on this today, and they'll show how easy it is to build this, how powerful it is, not to only build for yourself, but also to share with our customers and partners. And the last item that we have at Tago is the integration and notification part. So we have a lot of applications already built on top of TagoIO, and most of them have been built by our partners, customers, external developers. We built some of them, but most are done by others. And the way that they have done that is basically using our features. So what differentiates Tago from others is not one or the features, but is more a set of features. For example, different from other platforms that's more focused on store data, device connectivity, or dashboard itself, we add other features like user management. And user management is not only for development side, but also for your customer. Okay, you can create several layers of user access for your customer of your customers, and so on. Also, you have the Explorer. is where you can install some demos to have a quick access to understand how Tago works. And we also have a dashboard capability, where that's the part that Roberto is going to show here in a couple of minutes. So you can share your application privately or with public links. And of course, we have what we believe adds a lot of value, that's the integration with other systems and services. So we brought and built to Tago a lot of features inside that's very important to build your final solution. But we understand that there are other services out there, right? For example, with Tago, you can use Microsoft Flow to create a connectivity to other systems, okay? To Google Sheets, to Microsoft email, to the calendar, and other things. So we create connect for that. Also, you can connect our system with ticket generators like Zendesk, or also CRMs like Zoho CRM or Microsoft CRM or Dropbox and so on. We have several connectors for you connect your device to Tago. This start from the HTTP, of course, HTTPS, MQTT, but also we add several links to network, like from LoRaWAN, Sigfox, and so on. So we create in a way that you can start to build applications inside the Tago, and as you expand, you can add more features. Okay. As I said before, today we're going to focus mainly on the dashboard. So next here, we're going to listen to a presentation from Roberto, who is our software developer. We're going to explain in details how to build. First, if you haven't done so, you can right now create your free account. Going to TagoIO, and then you click here in the top right side and sign up for free. Just make sure that when you do that as a developer, you sign up and check this box. I am a developer, because when you do that, you'll be able to get all the tools available for you for free to develop the application. If you don't do that, you need to change your settings later. Otherwise, you'll be able just to see the information and not to really to build them. Okay. So now, after this short introduction, I will introduce you Roberto, our software developer, and he's gonna work from here. So Roberto, feel free to share your screen.
Hello everyone, I'm Roberto and I'm a software developer at TagoIO. First of all, can you guys hear me? Can you type something on? Can you see my screen? So if you do so, please just type it's okay. Okay, somebody's okay. Thank you. So today I'm going to show you how to work with data and create dashboards using our admin and using scripts. Basically, I'm going to show you how to create dashboards like this one that you were seeing. This is a dashboard that Fabio created like in a few minutes, like probably 2 or 3 minutes. It's kind of very easy. Before I get started with the dashboards, let's talk about how data gets into TagoIO and how it's stored. So basically, if you need to add data to Tago, you need a device. Devices are a virtual representation of your real devices, and they are the entry point of your data. So basically, if you need to send data to Tago, you need to create devices. And in this screen right now, you can see that I have 3 different devices, and if you need to add more devices, you can just do so. And here you can see we support a lot of different devices, and if you don't see your device here, you can just add a custom device. We'll get back to this later. For now, I'm not going to add a device, but we'll do that in this webinar. So, when you have a device, where is your data stored at Tago? So here we have buckets. You can think of buckets as if they were the database for your applications. For example, if you store data, all your data are stored in these buckets. Here you can see your variables. For example, let's say I have a bucket here called user input, and I can see here the variables. And you can delete these variables. You can empty your bucket. Let's say if you are developing something, you need to just clear everything. Let's see. Here you have access to sharing your bucket. If you want to share this data with any other account, you can make backups of your data, and you can see what devices are linked to these same buckets. So basically, we treat buckets as our application databases. And I'm going to show you, before I start with dashboards, how to send data to Tago, how we expect you to send this data, and how to build this data, in fact. So at any point of time, you can come here next to your name and click this question mark. And this is our documentation. Here you can find everything about Tago, the admin, the SDK, and our APIs, and everything related to our documentation. To start, I'm going to look for sending data. So basically here we have a document called sending data, an article. Let me open this in a full screen in a new tab. So basically, we support a lot of different means of getting data to Tago. For example, we support, as Fabio said, we support LoRa, Sigfox, HTTP, MQTT, and Microsoft Flow, and whatever other different means of adding data to Tago. We can support that as well through middlewares. Basically, for this webinar, we're going to talk about posting data using HTTP posts. So we're not going to talk about all means of putting data to Tago. So basically, what you need to add data to Tago, for this example, you can just post in this URL here, api.tago.io/data, and we expect you to follow a simple structure like this. For example, if you want to send a variable to Tago, let's say we have a variable called temperature. You send this variable. You can also send unit, value, time, location, and other. You can see the whole list of keys that we accept over here. So basically, when you send this variable to Tago, this variable is going to be created in your bucket. Let's say that you want to create a variable called temperature. Just set it, and it will be created automatically in your device. You don't have to go to Tago and create variables. Okay, so this is just an example. You can come here and copy this example to send data to Tago if you want. This is just a JSON post, and just one thing. This is an option to send one package. You can send multiple, an array of data like this. For example, here we have variable temperature and variable temperature Celsius. You can add more of those. There's a limit, of course, but you can add a lot of data here. I think it's 1,000 per post. Okay. So now let's create a dashboard and display data in that dashboard. So going back here to the admin, I'm going to go to dashboards. Before I show you dashboards, let me go back here to buckets. If you create an account right now, you'll have this bucket called sample data. This is just a bucket that is shared automatically with you, and you can get data from it just to sample, to create a dashboard using before you even connect your devices. So it's just for you to play with dashboards. So let's create a dashboard right now. I'm going to create one called demo. Here. So you can see here that we have a list of dashboards. This one is called demo. And here let me add a few widgets to it. Okay, I'm going to add a gauge here, and the data from that gauge is going to be the sample data. So basically you can do the same thing as I'm doing right now if you have a new account. And I'm going to add temperature here. So basically to create widgets, first of all, you need to select where is this data coming from. So you need to select the bucket. For example, I select this sample data. And which device is sending this data to this bucket. So in this case, there's a device called sample data as well. And which variable is going to be shown in this gauge. For this example, it's going to be the temperature. I'm going to save it here. And you can see that we have a widget. And you can resize and you can change a few things. For example, here, we can change the format of the number over here. So let me edit this and go to parameter configuration and add a number format over here. So let's say that I want only one number after the comma. Okay. And we also have a few different gauge models, so we can edit this as well. And for example, here we have an angular one that is most common gauge. We have a solid one as well. And you can play around with the options that we have over there. So let me just make this smaller. I'm going to add a few more widgets so I can show you the different widgets that we have and the different options in each widget. So here is a basic display just to show you variables. I'm going to add the same variable, so sample data and temperature. Okay, so this is display. Let me add a chart right now. I'll do the same thing. I'll add from the sample data, the variable temperature. And I'm going to add one more variable for this, actually. Let me add humidity. So let me just save it here. Basically now we have a chart with temperature and humidity. Okay. And as I showed you in the gauge widget, you can change the type of charts as well. For example, we have an area chart and we have let's say bar charts as well, horizontal bar and vertical bars. You can look around on this. Okay. And one thing that is very useful for not only for charts but for maps and tables, you can create, like for example here I have a lot of data for my temperature and it's kind of not very good to look at a chart. So let's say you want to create a period filter over here. As a developer, you can edit this filter over here, and if you go here to advanced options, you can say, let's say, show data for one, let's say, minute, hour, and then let's say 1 day, 1 week. Okay, just add these 3 ones. Okay, and here, this option is going to be shown on your dashboard, on your widget. So you can click here and see we don't have data for an hour, but we have data for 1 day. So basically, you can create these filters, and this is useful for your end user. Let's say that you're a developer developing an application for some end users, so they can create. They can use these filters over here. And as you saw that, it's possible to customize everything. You can put any time that you want here, and they can put a custom time in here as well. Basically, you can do these type of filters over here on different widgets. All the widgets that show data for some time, it's possible to add this, like maps and tables and a few others. Okay, so let me just shorten this one here. I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to add now a table. And we have two options for table, static and dynamic. The difference is static, you need to add your own rows and columns, and dynamic, they come from variables. So let me click here to dynamic. And it's the same thing for all widgets. We need to select the bucket, sample data, the device that is automatically selected, and the variable I'm going to add temperature. Okay, so here you can see a dynamic table. You can see your data. If you want, you can change the name of your columns. You can add more variables. Let's say that I want to add the humidity as well. So let's see here, and now I can see the humidity over here. You can choose to hide or show these time and date and time, and you can add. Let me go to configurations over here. Let's say that this temperature I want to show as temp, and humidity as only. You can see that we have some other options here, but one option that I want to show you is this one over here. Here, you can add a filter in that. So basically, I changed the name of temperature to temp and humidity to hum, like this. Let's say you have a variable that's not user-friendly like that, like temperature, or it's called something else. You can change the names of the variables, and you can do that in all the widgets. And for here, let's say that you want to filter your data, you can add this filter. Okay, now I'm going to add a new tab to this dashboard. Let me just do that. So if you go here to tabs, let's call this one data, and I'm going to add one called map. Basically, what I just did is just create a new tab over here. Now we have data and map. I'm going to click on map over here. Okay, and I'm going to add a map here. This is a map widget. Okay, so I'm going to add from the same sample data, but now I'm going to add the variable called location, and just save that as it was. Okay, let me just resize the map real quick. Okay, so basically you can display data on maps. Here all the data is crumbed together, but we can choose to show only the last position if you want, or let's say that I want to show only one point for each variable. Let me just change that, and then we can see the last location of this car. And you can change the icon of the car. You can add images over here. Let me see. Let me change that. So for example, here you can change, let's say that it's some kind of home. You can change the icon and the color. Save that. Okay. And you can add links to this option, and you can add images to it as well. These images, if you want, you can, let me add one. You can upload them to TagoIO directly. Here we have a files option. Let me just take one. I have a picture of a farm over here. Let me just open that. I copied the URL of the picture, and let me go back to the map and add that picture. So advanced options here. Basically here on advanced options, you have image to display in the map pane. Just paste that in, and here we have the same interval as I showed you in the chart. If you want to filter the data, let's say you want to create a report that people can look in the map, you can do that. Let me just save it here. So here basically you can see that farm picture, and I can add links to it. Let me just show you how to do that. Advanced options as well. So let's say that you want to create a dashboard. When you click on that farm, it goes to another dashboard. You can do like, let me just add TagoIO here and say Tago website. Okay. Here you can see that we have a link for that. Well, you can use, as I said, you can create a dashboard, and if you want, you can link this dashboard to a farm. We'll do this later on, but for now, I just add Tago website. Okay. And here we can add, you can create geofences. You can add multiple variables, devices, and we can add a lot of things on the map. We can just do a webinar just for the map if it's necessary, but if you see our documentation, we have everything over there. Okay, so now, after I showed you how to display your data on maps and how to display your data on gauges, tables, and charts, let me just see. Okay, so now basically I'm going to add a new tab to this dashboard, and let's say that we want to create an application. Let's say that we have a farm that we are going to monitor, and we want to monitor temperature and create some alerts. So you saw that it's very simple and easy to create widgets. You just you have a lot of options. I'm not going to show every widget, but you can create a free account and go there and take a look at the widgets by yourself. So basically, I'm going to edit the dashboard again and create a new tab. And this tab, I'm going to call it Farm. Okay. So now we have a tab called Data, a tab called Map, and a tab called Farm. This is very useful for you to create applications for your customers. Let's say that they have some kind of configuration. They can create a configuration tab, or I don't know, if they have different options to show on dashboards, you can create different options like that. Here, let me show you just one thing. For this application, let's say that you have a customer of yours that is it's monitoring a farm, and this customer, let's say that he can control the maximum and minimum temperature, and if the temperature goes above and below those limits, somebody needs to be alerted or some action needs to be taken. So to do that, you can add data directly from the dashboards, but before that, we need to create a device. So let me create a device real quick. So I'm going to devices and click here, add a new one. For this one, I'm going to add a custom device, and I'm going to call this my farm sensors. Okay. So basically, when I created this device, a bucket was already automatically created to it. So you can see here that we have my farm sensors on buckets. And let's go back to our demo dashboard. So here on our farm tab, let me add one more widget. I'm going to add one called input. So basically, this is for your users, your clients, to input data. Basically, you can create farms over here. I'm going to create just one farm with a few options, and then I'm going to show you the rest of the options that we have. We have a lot of options in these farms. So the same thing applies to here, but I'm going to use our new device called My Farm Sensors. And this device doesn't have any variables. So if you click here, it's not going to show anything. But I'm going to say that we have a variable called max temperature, max temp only, and then we have min temp, and then we have email. Basically, when I send this data, if I save it here, we have I'm going to change some things here, just a second. So this is a form type. I'm going to send only one post for all three. And basically, for now, I still don't have these variables in my bucket. But as soon as I send an option, these variables will be created inside the buckets. So now I need to configure these variables for temperature, maximum, minimum, and email. Basically, I come here to parameter configuration, and what's the type of the first option, the first variable, max temperature? This is going to be a text input, and it's going to be a required field. And here we can say a placeholder. For example, we can do like EG, let's say 55. For the second temperature, the second variable, minimum temperature, it's also going to be a text. We have a lot of options. I'm going to show you one widget with all the options, but for now I'm just going to add text. And it's going to be a required field as well. And the placeholder will be AG, let's say 80. And the last one that is going to be the email. Let's click here. We have an email type that validates if it's a valid email. And it's going to be also a required field, and the placeholder would be email only. Okay, let me just save it. So now we have an input. It's basically a form that you can register your minimum, maximum, and email. Let's say that our minimum temperature is 55, our maximum, oh, sorry, I switched them both here. So let's say that the maximum temperature is 80, the minimum is 55, and the email is my email. And let me send this, okay. Now let me just, this is not very good to show to our client right now because it says input 1 over here and then max underscore temp. We can make this much more friendlier. So let me edit this. Let's call this configuration. If I save it here, it changes the name of the form, and then let me edit again. Here, you can change the name of all the variables. Let's say we have max temperature. So maximum temperature, or just spelled maximum temperature, minimum temperature, and here let's say email like this. And of course, I changed the. Let's just add the placeholder for minimum and maximum. Makes more sense. Okay, so here I'm going to save it. So now it's much more friendlier. We have configuration as the name of the widget. We have maximum temperature as the first variable, minimum temperature, and email. And also we can change the name of this button as well. So if we edit here and we go to advanced option, we can say like save configurations. Save new configuration. Let's save it here. And now you can see that the button is called Save Configuration. You can also choose to show an option and to show a confirmation option. So if I go here to parameter configuration and there is a add confirm button, let me just add that, and you can change the text of that configuration over here. So let's say that are you sure? Save. Let's say just this. Are you sure you want to save this? And then I'll click save here. If I click here, now it's asking me, are you sure you want to save this? And of course you can type whatever you want here, and you can customize your messages. So this is just a simple form. You can add much more complex forms. As I showed, we have a lot of options, and I'm going to go through a few of them later on. So now I'm going to add a new widget over here. It's our brand new widget. It's called, let me add it here. It's called Compose. So basically, I'm going to show you, that's better. So here I'm going to use these My Farm sensors, and the variable is going to be temperature. So if you see now, as I set these variables over here, now if I create it, let me add the widget again. From sensors. So now you have the options to show your variables over here. And I'm going to show the variable for temperature. That we still don't have that variable, but we're going to have it in the near future. So I'm going to add only one variable in here. This widget needs one more configuration over here. That it's the type of background. Here we have image, we have YouTube video, Vimeo video, and generic video. So basically, this is the background of your widget. And let's say that we are going to add an image for now. I have the same farm image. Let me just copy it again. If you want, you can add a YouTube video, and this YouTube video can be a stream of your cameras, so it can be a real-time video. And let me save it here. Okay, now we have a widget that shows an image of a farm, as we are going to we are working on a farm application, farm monitoring application. Now I'm going to add values to this image. So one thing that I want to show you again, how we send data, because we have two different ways that we are showing this webinar. First of all is user input. So the user is just adding data over here. Now we are going to add data as your sensor was sending it. So basically, I'm going to open devices on a new tab over here. And here we have our device called My Farm Sensors. And I'm going to add a new, I'm going to use the device emulator because I don't have a real device right now. You can use this emulator as you are developing, and then you can just switch to a real device when you want. So here, device emulator. Basically, what it does, it posts data to Tago using those, here, if we go back, using those default values that we expect, that I showed you before, these ones. And here, you can say, let's say that I want to send a variable. You can just click there and we automatically build you the JSON object. Let's say that we want to add a value as well, and we want to add unit. So now I want to select the device, and the device is going to be called My Farm Sensors. So we are going to add the temperature for our device, and we are going to add the value 71. But for this widget, we need one more thing, that is the metadata. Let me just add it here. I'm not going to add color right now. Oh, okay, I can leave the color over there. So basically, there's one thing that we need for this device, that is the X and Y location. So let's see, Y. Okay, and what do I use this location for? This is basically an icon that is going to be shown in the image, and the position, the X and Y, is the position inside the image over here. So basically, you can come here and edit this widget, and if you go to parameter configuration, you can see the option show X and Y coordinates. I'm just going to put it as yes and save. Okay, now when I hover my mouse over the image, I can see that the X and Y position here in the corner. Let's say that I want to add a temperature over here in this part. So I hover my mouse over here, so it's 59 and 31. I go to the emulator, it's 0.59 and 0.31. Okay, now I'm going to add the variable called temperature, the value 71, the unit F, and the metadata green and X and Y. So let me just send this. Okay, I sent the data. And if I come here, I have a green icon, and this icon, if I click on it, it says the temperature is 71. And you can add multiple of these if you want. You can add a lot of different icons in here. Let me just change this icon over here. If you have an SVG file, you can send the URL and you can change this. So basically, going back here to our files, I have a thermometer. Let me copy the URL. Let me go here to back to the emulator here, and I'll add one more called icon. So icon is this one, and I'm going to change it to yellow and send. Okay, yeah, now you can see that it's yellow and we have a thermometer icon over here. And if we click, we have temperature 71. So there's one more thing that I want to show you in this widget. This is the it's possible to add embedded widgets over here. Let's say that this data over here, let's say that this temperature we have different. This is just the sample temperature, but let's say that this is the real temperature for that device. You can add this widget over there. So if I go here to the widget, edit it, and go to embedded widget, I can generate the embedded code and just copy the URL. So if I go here, copy the URL of the embedded code, I can go back to the farm, edit it. If I go to the variable, I have here list options. So here I have the embedded URL, and also I can add a page, a web page. So let's say that I have https TagoIO, and then let's say Tago website. Okay, and now you can see that we have here Tago website. If I click here, it goes to the website, and here we have these three dot options button over here. So if I click here, let me just take a second, so it will show you that widget over here, and it's a real-time widget. If this widget changes, it will change in here as well. Okay, one more thing that I want to show you is about the options that we have in this the metadata over here. I want to show you that those options changing in different widgets. So here, let's say that we have sample, a variable called sample, like this, and I'm going to create another new tab over here. Like go to tabs and create a new one, and I'm going to call this one sample. Okay, and in here I'm going to add a table. It's going to be a dynamic table because I want the values from my variables. It's going to be my farm sensors, and the variable is going to be sample. Okay, and we are going to save it. Okay, we still don't have any data over here. Now I'm going to add a new one. It's going to be a chart, and it's going to be the same device, sample data, and it's going to be, oh, not sample data, it's going to be the my farm sensors, and it's going to be sample as well. Okay, we don't have data for that yet. And I'm going to add a map as well. I'm going to create, oh, not sample data, my farm sensors, and here sample as well. Okay, so we still don't have any data for this variable. We have the device, but we don't have any data. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show how the widgets react to different metadata. So if I go here to devices and I have the sample, and let's say that we have value 71 and we have color yellow, and then the X and Y. These widgets don't use X and Y, so I'm going to remove them. Okay, and this icon as well, I'm going to remove it. So I'm just going to add color for now. So if I send, it will be creating the variable called sample. Let me send this data. Okay, So if I go here, we have 71 in the table, and we have 71 in the chart, and we still don't have anything for the map because map requires the location. So let me go back here. Let's say that I want this green. Let me send it now. 71 green. So basically, for the table, each value changes the color of the row, and you can have different different row colors over here and different column colors over here. If let's say that if we have like 3 variables, you can have each one for each color. And for charts, the last color is going to be the color of the line of your chart. So you can change that. And here, let's add a location to the map. So let me go back to devices, and I can just click here, location, and you can see that this a location key is added here with some latitude and longitude for you. So let me just send this data. Okay, so here I can see there is a car and it's green. I have a few options for icons for maps. Let me just go back to the documentation and go to map. Let me see the name of the icons here. So here we have attention, location, car, residence. Let me just add one called residence. So let's go back to device, and now let's add a new one called icon, a new metadata, and the icon is going to be called residence. So send data, okay, and if I go here, now it's going to show residence, and it's showing two locations at the same time. You can, as they are the same location, is one on top of the other. But as I showed you in the beginning, you can just change it to show the last location only, or you can just change it to show the number of locations that you want. So I'll just put 1 here. It's going to show only the last one. Okay, let me just refresh it. Okay, and now let me add in here another icon. Let me just go back to the name of the icons here. Map. So let's say that we have a Wi-Fi icon. If I go here and change the icon to Wi-Fi, send. Let me just refresh this page. Okay, now we have an icon Wi-Fi. So basically, we have different widgets. You can go to our documentation and look what kind of metadata each one expects. For this one, I'm just showing in color and icon, but we have position as you saw in the file control. So there's one more thing that I want to show you is the other inputs. So basically, I created here an input. This is an input with all the options that we have. So we have checkboxes. You can add more than one in here. We have radio, and you can customize these options, and they can come from different variables. Let's say that you have a different form, and whenever you add a new option, a new radio can be shown in here. And we have text, as you saw, drop down with some options, and we have a multiple selector like this one. Here we have an image selector. You can select multiple images and just send them. We have an address. Let's say that we have Main Street. You can just type your address over here, and let me just click this one. And this also is shown in the map if you add this address. And we have the email that does email validation, calendar that you can create filters. And we have files. You can select the file here, and they will be uploaded to our files section. And here we have device. Let's say that you need to select a device. Your devices are shown here. So let's say we have a GlobalSat and inputs. All of our devices are shown here. And let me show you one other input form that I created. This is a more realistic form. Let's say that this is a user registration. Let's say you want to register employees in an application. So here we have a name, an email. I just added this for sure to show the radio options. So we have a dark theme and a light theme, and we have an address. So if I click here to register, it will be registered and shown here in this table. And one thing that I want to show you is that it's possible to run scripts when you register your devices. So when you register, no, when you send data from your widgets. So if I add it here, I can see that we have under parameter configurations. So we run this script or this analysis when submitting the form. So basically, let me just show you the analysis real quick because we're running out of time. Here I have an analysis called create dashboard. I'm going to click that. And this is a node script that it's just a simple script that creates a dashboard for you and add a few options. And if you want, you can see this script later. So basically, whenever let me click here to input and user registration. So whenever I register a user over here, let's say that I want to add Fabio number 2 over here and register. What it does, it registered user, so you can see here, and it runs that script. So let me refresh my page over here. And that script creates a new dashboard. So you can see here that we have a dashboard called Fabio Rosa 2. So if I click here, this is just a sample dashboard, but you can add the widgets that you want, or you can create a model dashboard and clone dashboards from that. If it's all possible using our APIs. So basically, let me go back here to our input. Let me add just Roberto 2 and register. Let me just refresh it here. Okay, and here now you can see that we have a dashboard called Roberto 2. So basically you can register someone, you can share that dashboard, and you can do whatever you need to do using our APIs, like sharing, adding more people to these dashboards, sending emails, sending SMS. Basically, it's Node.js code, and you can do any scripts that you want. So we are running out of time, and we need to go to our question sections. I saw that you guys have a few questions over here. There's just one more thing that I want to show you. We have, I'm going to show you a quick demo over here. This is a smart farm. It's the same image from the other one, but it's with a few variables showing here. So if you see here, we have a tank, a propane tank level, and you can be creative with this, and you can add more links and widgets in here. You can add your own web pages to be shown here if you want. And I think that's all. If you need any help or any assistance when you are developing your application, you can head to our page. It's TagoIO, and here you have resources and developers. Developers and videos, those are the main developer helper options. So in here, you can see our documentation. We have the SDK document and all the other documentations. And if you go to videos, you can see our previous webinars. We have a lot of training videos as well. And we have here an option to contact us. We have here customer support if you want to ask us any questions. So I'm going to get back to Fabio so we can go on with the questions. Thank you very much, and that's all.
Thank you, Roberto. That's very good.